Hello, friends, and welcome to ZenPod. Today, in our studio, we have a doctor who has been awarded for doing exceptional work and making a difference in our community by the Union Ministry of Women and Child Development and has been bestowed the 100 Women Achievers Award by the President of India. We have an eminent medical personality. Dr. Neela Bhattacharya was born A. Neela Catherine in Chennai. She passed her MBBS from the Madras Medical College. As an undergraduate, very proficient, she kept receiving gold medals, namely the Dr. Rajashekara Reddy Gold Medal and the Dr. Chandaswamy Prize. With a passion for surgery, Neela went to Cuttack for her MS in General Surgery. She won the MC Dandapat Prize over there. Neela obtained a Diplomat of National Board in Surgery and later on became a member of the National Academy of Medical Sciences. She worked as an assistant professor of surgery, Sri Ramachandra Medical College and Research Institute in Chennai for 7 years, training innumerable budding doctors and surgeons. Neela has over 30 publications in various Indian and international journals of medicine. The latest being a publication in an Indian journal where it was detailed of the informed consent for surgery during COVID-19. Driven by a thirst to super specialize, she joined MCH Plastic Surgery at Kilpauk Medical College in Chennai. Here she was awarded the Ethicon Travelling Fellowship of the Association of Surgeons of India. Neela has also been chosen as one of the 25 women transforming India by the Niti Aayog. She received the Woman Icon India Global Award from the Governor of Tamil Nadu and the Shakti Samman Women's Achievers Award from the Governor of Sikkim. She received the Director Medical Border Security Force Commendation Role for the work done for cleft children. Neela has received the Best Citizens of India Award in 2017 and Excellence in Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery Award. She has won the Bharat Jyoti and the Bharat Ratna Dr. Abdul Kalam Excellence Award. Neela gave a talk at the TEDx Change Your Face Value. She is an active member and was facilitated twice by the Inner Wheel Club in Siliguri. And if that was not enough, Neela is an ardent gardener and was felicitated by a leading media house on World Environment Day. Neela is the only woman from West Bengal to be conferred this honor. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Neela Bhattacharya to our studios. Welcome to yet another edition of ZenPod. I have an extremely accomplished lady, a doctor, if I may say. And I love saying this, we met her better half in the earlier episode. And now she may disagree, but now we meet Dr. Neela Bhattacharya. Neela, welcome to the show and thank you very much for taking time out.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and inviting me for this too. So you already had a session with the better half. So why do you want a session with the worst half is something I have to decide.
This is where the show becomes controversial. Thank you very much. All right. Neela, my trademark question to you. How do you define spirituality?
Define and all is a big word. So spirituality, as far as I am concerned, is maybe being aware or recognizing a spirit or a soul within you and with people around you. That is maybe seeing something divine, something special within you and in all the people that you meet around you also. So simply put, that is only spirituality, that you know that you are a good person, you want to be a good person, you have some self-esteem, you don't want to do things that can put you in a bad light, and also in others. You don't want to hurt them, you don't want to put them down, because you are seeing something divine in them. So naturally, when you see somebody in a good light, you don't want to go and disrespect them or be brutal to them. So if you are able to live life that way, that means that you're spiritual.
Awesome.
I think that's simply put.
Beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. You know, the reason I ask this question also, and I'm just learning so much about people's different definitions of just a simple word, you know, and I'm glad that at least the people I've spoken to on this show have not confused spirituality and religion. And I'm so happy about it. Yeah. I'm so happy about it. Yeah.
Good. Religion. Religion is just some guidelines and some beliefs,
Right.
maybe to make you live a better life, but then
Right. Right.
spirituality is something inane. It
Absolutely.
should come from within you. So
Brilliant. Brilliant.
mm,
Your dream, Neela, was to become a doctor. Any specific reason?
uh, no, no specific reason actually. I was born into a family where there were a lot of medical people.
Mhm.
So right from when I was very young, the people told me, you will be a doctor, you will be a doctor, and that sort of went into the psyche. So it
Okay.
sort of I liked the idea. I used to play games that like I was a doctor. I
Wow.
used to treat people around even when I was very small. So
Wow.
that sort of became a passion to become a doctor. So it was that. It was very simple.
Wow. You've had a fairly illustrious career and a long profession in the medical field, and the medical field is quite a stressful one. I understand that. How has your journey been so far? Why don't you share with us?
Uh, I don't think I would call the medical field very stressful, because once you love something, no, it
Hmm.
ceases to
Hmm.
be a stress.
Interesting. Interesting.
So I wanted to do medicine, and I wanted to do medicine from Madras Medical College. I achieved both of them.
Hmm.
So after I finished my MBBS, then I wanted to do only general surgery. I was sort of clear about that,
Okay.
and then I got that in through the All India exam in Cuttack, and I finished general surgery about in '97, and then joined as an assistant professor in Ramchandra Medical College as a
Oh, very nice.
surgery, and I was working there for about 7 years. Dealing with a lot of postgraduates, teaching them general surgery, etc., etc. That is when sort of I felt that no, that is not enough. You have to do something more, and then I joined. I wanted to super specialize, and I
Wow.
super specialized in plastic and reconstructive surgery. Did my MCH again from um, Kilpak Medical College. After that, I shifted to North Bengal, so that is a different thing, and I am now doing plastic surgery here. And the journey so far has been really adventurous, I should say. The
Beautiful.
life has been the life has had a lot of fascinating moments and challenges, and I am very lucky to have gone through the life.
Hmm. Hmm. Very, very, very interesting. Uh, and we spoke about spirituality while we started this show, and you gave me a very beautiful explanation, your opinion or your view on spirituality. At what point do you believe or do you feel medicine and spirituality intersect?
I think it is very simple. If you have been chosen to be a doctor,
Hmm.
I think you end up living a spiritual life.
Wow.
I can give you some examples. For
Please.
example, now as a plastic surgeon,
Hmm.
just imagine that I put back a hand which is severed from the body.
Okay.
Okay, I put it back. Um, what value can you attach to that? Okay, what value can you attach to a man getting back his hand? Hmm? The man pays me some fees, of course,
Sure,
but
sure.
then when I later on show that thing in a plastic surgery conference or somewhere else, I don't say that this man paid me this fees for putting back the hand, but then I show that he's able to use his hand to feed himself, he's picking up things, he's able to use his hand to work, he's gone back to having a good life, he's earned his self respect in life. So
Wow.
these are the things, and this is something which I feel the pride and the satisfaction is the gain in that. That is the dividend that I get from doing that surgery. Similarly for the patient also.
Hmm.
So he has a belief in humans, and that is spiritual for him. He has believed that another human can do him good, can give him back what he has what he would have lost. Similarly, in another example, maybe if a small child, I'm born with a cleft palate,
Hmm.
I do the surgery,
Hmm.
and then 5 years down the line, I get a video from the child's mother showing that the child is performing on stage.
Beautiful.
Again, I have done the surgery free of cost. But for the child and for those parents, it is such a life-changing episode that had happened. And for me also, again, it's not like I didn't get any money from that. I'm not going to say that nah, useless. No, I'm so proud and I'm so happy that the child is doing well. So if you cannot really value what a doctor does for a patient in any frame at all. Even you take with a small fever, a patient, a doctor makes you well. It is a spiritual experience. So I think medicine and spirituality are intertwined
Brilliant.
with each other at all levels.
Brilliant. You have been a pioneer, and I what you just spoke about, I heard it in your TEDx talk, and that I must tell you, Doctor, was a very, very inspiring talk you gave. We'll come to that later, but
Thank you.
you've been a
so much.
pioneer in your field, and there are a lot of firsts. And while we'll get into each of the initiatives later on, how did it all start? Why do because a lot of people lead a normal life, they do their normal things, whether they are a doctor or a musician or an executive. We go to work, we pay our bills, we come back. Very few people take the effort of doing something beyond, and you are a pioneer. So can you tell us how it all started? Was it an incident? Was it an example? Or did you feel like that?
When I did my MBBS, we were nearly 50-50. There were 50 girls and nearly 50% was
Wow.
the division in
Okay.
the class.
Okay.
But during that time, 91, when I finished my MBBS, there were very, very few lady surgeons.
Okay.
So all women would usually get into gynecology or dermatology or ophthalmology or some of those fields where it is not very exacting or where a woman is generally perceived.
Right.
I wanted to be a general surgeon.
Okay.
I was passionate about surgery.
Awesome.
So that was something which a lot of people found very peculiar, and
Correct.
a lot of people discouraged me, said that you really think a man who has a surgical problem will come to you for treatment?
Wow.
Wouldn't he go to the vast number of surgeons who are the men surgeons who are there?
Right.
But I wanted to do only surgery, and it was very difficult to get surgery in down south because of the being of the forward caste. There's a high amount of reservation, so it's nearly impossible. 50% goes to the service candidates. So then we had to take the all India PG entrance, and through that entrance I got surgery in Cuttack. Now that again was a very peculiar experience for me, because when I went from South India, Chennai, to all the way to Orissa, there I was the first lady postgraduate in that college in surgery. So they also found they did not know how to handle me. We did not have a system in place for a lady postgraduate, because how do you do the night duties and things like that. They were all very people used to come and peep at me through the windows and see who's this girl, maybe she's a freak, maybe she's something maybe she won't be sincere, she just does it for the thrill of being a surgeon. It took some time, maybe another month or so, for the teachers to understand that no, she really means business. And now all my teachers are so proud of me, and they keep in touch and etc. But when it started, it was completely a different
awesome
when I did my surgery.
Really, respect for you.
So
really
it started like that.
Admirable.
Thank you so much.
No, really. You work with children, Neela, I know, and you just shared an example of the kid with the cleft palate. And can you tell us more about it, about your work with children and some of the challenges they face? And
yeah, I in North Bengal, where I now practice in Siliguri, I run one of the biggest cleft programs. Cleft, that is children who are born with the congenital cleft of the palate. So we do surgeries for them completely free of cost. So one of the biggest programs here, it is called Smile Train, and we get children right from nearly 500 kilometers all around Siliguri.
Mhm.
So we get them from the down south, from just above Calcutta to the hills to Sikkim, from even the neighboring countries of Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh. So we
Okay.
get patients here. We start off with first counseling the parents. For example, a child who's born with a congenital cleft lip and palate, the parents are shattered because they don't want to look at their kid.
Yeah.
They are considered some blacklisted in society. So we counsel the parents that no, this child is also normal. This child can also be made normal, and then we tell them how to feed, how to look after the child, and then after the child attains a particular weight and some amount of health, then we do the surgery for the child completely free. We operate on the lip and the palate, then we follow up the child. We send the child for speech therapy,
Mhm.
dental treatments, and nearly until the child becomes a teenage, we do a lot of other procedures also. So this entire thing goes
Wow.
under the banner of Smile Train. So that we have been able to do, and mainly the malnourished poor children. So of this entire area is benefited by this project.
Awesome. You actually answered my next question as well, but really good. Smile Train. So how many hours a week or a month does it take away from your schedule?
No, I don't consider Smile Train to take away time from my other work. Smile Train is part of an important part of the day for me.
And
So
I'm so glad you said this. I'm so glad you said.
so as a Smile Train project manager, I see the children in the OPD. Maybe about 10 to 15 children come per day.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
Oh my
the pre-operative, the children whom we have operated, the post-operative, they come for reviews and all those things. So it takes about 1.5 to 2 hours every day for the OPD consultation. And for surgery, I post about 2 to 3 surgeries a day, and each surgery will take about 1.5 hours. So this is in addition to the plastic surgery work that I
right,
do. So
right.
it takes a substantial time of
Yeah,
the day, but I enjoy it. So
excellent.
this is part of my schedule too.
Awesome. Really impressive. Let's now come to your personal side a little bit. Let people know the personal side of Dr. Neela. You are a mother of two and a practicing doctor. How do you manage the balance?
Uh, actually, now because the kids have grown, so it isn't much of a
Right,
issue.
right.
But
Correct.
when they were small, when they were just born, and I had to go back to work, and that too, my work is not going to be something very easy with fixed
Correct.
times. Anytime I could be called to an emergency. I had night duties and things like that.
Exactly.
So at that time, it was quite challenging to have small kids and to manage. That
Mhm.
time, I think we all manage by roping in our mothers, our mother-in-laws, and then we are lucky to have some good domestic help at that time.
Very nice.
So my kids have grown around me. Maybe I was not there always to tell them exactly at what to do at what point in time,
Mhm.
but they seem to have grown well around me, and so much so if now I stay a little don't go to work and I take one day off, then they wonder why are you at home.
We don't need you.
Why? Because they are not used to me policing them, so they have had a free reign, and they have grown well with that free reign. They have achieved quite a bit, so I
Enough.
think you can manage.
Awesome. No, I also asked with special significance because your field and the work you do requires immense concentration and focus. And if obviously you don't have a very stable mind or a very strong background, then it's difficult to run a home and then go and sort out a very serious surgery. That's why I asked. So that's fantastic.
Yes. When I'm at work,
Mhm.
unless it is a very great emergency, the people at home will not call me.
Okay, good.
So that is something the children and people at home also have realized, that what she does is not something which you can
Very
interrupt
nice.
in between.
Very nice.
So it has been like that, and we have been able to do quite a good job so far, so long.
Very nice. Very nice. You are, Neela, one of the chosen few or the 100 women achievers in India, chosen by the government of India.
Yeah,
Tell me, what does it
yeah.
mean to you, and how do you feel? And it's a huge achievement, right? So I want the listeners to know about it.
Actually, in North Bengal, I was the person who started the first plastic surgery department.
Right.
Because when I came to North Bengal, there wasn't any plastic surgeon at all,
Hmm.
and people did not even know what plastic surgery was about.
Hmm.
They did not understand what all comes into this field.
Correct.
So we started that, and then we got onto the Smile Train program, which, as I told you, caters to children who have congenital cleft lip and palate, and that is a project which I was able to start and do uh, completely free for the children. So it built up a lot of um, goodwill among the people here.
Okay.
So when that happened, and suddenly when this government announced that they were going to recognize 100 women who have achieved something in India, and then suddenly I got a call from Smile Train saying that they would want to nominate me for that award, and I was taken aback, really shocked,
Brilliant.
because until that point I'm just thinking that I'm doing work.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
and to suddenly be recognized for such a work you are doing, because Smile Train has around 175 centers all around the country. So
Wow.
many other surgeons, so many other women are also working in that, and for them to single out a single person.
Hmm.
And then there were about 4,000 applications for the award, so I did not even think that
Oh
I would
my God.
come into the top 100.
Wow.
So but it did happen, and then I was selected, and when I went to the Rashtrapati Bhavan to get the award,
Right.
that is when it struck me that maybe we are doing something which is
Right.
noteworthy,
Right.
and we should give it the recognition that it is due, and spread the awareness, so that plastic surgery as such will come into the limelight. It is
Yes.
always a field which people don't know much. So when we can spread this, that yes, you have somebody who's doing some work here, who's being recognized by the government, the national government itself. So that was a huge lift for me, actually. It made me more responsible that I should uh, highlight the work that we do, so that we could make an impact around where we live. So that way.
Indeed, indeed, and see, and once more, congratulations, Anila. Well deserved from all of us here. Really, really, very, very proud moment. You know,
Thank you so much.
this is a, and I'm sure some of the kids who are old enough to understand would have also felt very proud that somebody who's been a mother to them, or somebody who's been a helping hand to them, has actually being recognized, which is great. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, awesome.
yeah.
You work for the services, and I have huge regard for them, and you work for the services or the border security force personnel, and you guys live in those kind of areas. Can you let us in on it a little bit more, so that listeners can understand and empathize with some of it?
Uh, yes, Siliguri is a sort of a place where you have all the armed forces. You have the army, you have the air force, you
Right.
have all the paramilitary forces.
Right.
Now, and it's an important border state.
Correct.
So here, all these forces have a big presence.
Mhm.
Now, but they are also socially responsible. They go for their rounds, they meet people, etc. And then they see, because North Bengal is one of the poorer regions in the country. There is
Okay.
a high amount of malnutrition. More than 50 to 60% of the children are malnourished
Mhm.
and poor.
Mhm.
So when the forces go around and meet, then they see a lot of these children with the same deformity. They are basically a cleftus because of malnourishment. So
Oh.
they see those children, and then they are able to find out that we are doing this surgery free of cost. So all the forces, they um, signed an understanding with us that we would be helping you to gather these people all around, and we will bring them to you, so
Oh.
you could operate through the same program. You can operate them, and so that we will be able to take care of the post op. We will tell them how to do, what to manage, how to, and we would bring them back if necessary. So that amount of understanding we were able to do, and so through the SSB, through the BSF,
Mhm.
through the army. So we were able to collect a lot of these kids, and they were brought to us for treatment. And not only from the services, the NGOs also, the Rotary Club, the Inner Wheel Club, the Rotary Club of Sikkim, all these places, whenever this, because of this program, they are able to initiate small outreach measures in their respective communities, collect those children who
Brilliant.
require such treatment, and then they're able to bring it to us. So that is what we have been able to do.
Brilliant. That's really good because the services, anything you do is less, and it's really the spirit that they carry with us, and awesome.
Correct.
And I'm really glad you're working hand in hand with them. Uh, Again, a next question is a little bit of a personal and probably a professional question for you. You have chosen
Okay.
to settle in Siliguri, and Siliguri is a beautiful place. Personal experience.
Yes.
People are nice, lovely locales, awesome place. It's a quaint, small, picturesque place in Northeast, and if I do a Google search, I'm sure I'll get only lovely pictures. How did this decision come about, Neela? And can you let in on the story why and how this happened?
Yes, before 2006, frankly, I did not know that there was a place in this world called Siliguri, actually,
Wow.
because I am from Chennai,
Right. Metro.
born and brought up, and yeah, Metro.
Right.
So I knew Darjeeling, but I did not know that there was a place called
Correct.
Siliguri
Correct.
in the foothills. As how it came about, we were having a small flat. My husband and I, we were working in Ramachandra Medical College,
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly I got my MCH in plastic surgery. At that time, I had two small kids.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is, I, from having a salary,
Mm-hmm.
I had to get a small stipend.
Okay.
So with the family to look after, with the flat, with the EMIs and things like that, suddenly our finances were shaky. So at
Okay.
that point, it was like God sent. Our Ramchandra Medical College developed an MOU with a hospital in Kuch Bihar, that
Okay.
is in North Bengal,
Right.
3 hours from Siliguri.
Okay.
So they said they wanted a Bengali surgeon who
Oh.
could go there and work, and so they offered Kaushik the chance. So they said, you can go there. So
Okay.
I did not know where Kuch Bihar was. I was so worried. I said, is this something in Bihar? Are you going to be safe?
Right.
But then the temptation was there because the salary was 3 times what we were making in Ramchandra.
Okay.
So then we said, okay, we need it now. So
Right.
then he came here. And when he came to Kuch Bihar, he came to North Bengal,
Mm-hmm.
and he saw such a beautiful place, as you said. But the medical facility was very poor. There was practically no surgeon who was good enough to handle such a vast population again.
Mm-hmm.
He felt needed, and he was doing very good work.
Oh, okay.
So, and then when he found out, he said there is no plastic surgeon at all in this entire region. So many cases are just left without any treatment.
Oh my
So
God.
then when he said, when you finish your MCH, you come here. For me, it was a huge decision, because for Kaushik, he's a Bengali, so he wouldn't have any difference, any problem with language. But me, a Tamilian, a lady, a mother of two small
Right.
kids,
Right.
and they were studying in such a wonderful school in Chennai from a metropolitan area to come to a place where there is no plastic surgery. People have not heard about the specialty. What sort of reception,
Right.
what impact I could be making here? It
Right.
was all. But then I took the chance. I said, okay, let us see. Because it was very difficult for Kaushik to move back, and I did not want to have a split family like that. That was not part of the
Right.
program at all. So we took a decision and we came here to Siliguri, and I think the rest did fall into place. Everything worked. Initially, it was very difficult, but now plastic surgery. Initially, I will get cases hand injury, which is 3 months, 4 months old.
Oh my God.
Practically,
Oh my God.
things which have been just
Yeah.
left without any
Correct.
treatment. The hands all scarred and not moving. Whereas now, everywhere they know that, and if there is a hand cut, immediately plastic surgeon is required. There, all the doctors write plastic surgery, refer to plastic. So that sort of awareness we have been able to
Very good.
make
Very good.
with this number of years here. So I think that was a very great decision, though a very challenging one at that point.
Awesome. And I applaud you on that decision. But on a lighter note, and Dr. Kaushik and you have been married for a decent amount of time. Does a moment ever come when you say, "This is why I did not want to come to Siliguri with you"?
I think many times I say something like that just to annoy him. But Siliguri is where I will stay. Now people in Chennai tell me, Chennai is safe. Come to Chennai now, etc. With the corona pandemic, I say no. Whether I live, whether I die, it should be in Siliguri only. There is no other going back now. So
Brilliant.
it's like that.
Brilliant.
Siliguri is now home.
Very nice. Very nice. And your kids feel the same as well, right?
The kids, I think, are more Siligurians.
Oh.
They have
Okay.
enjoyed a lovely upbringing. They have had the best of all the worlds. I think their education has been in a good school. They've had a lot of exposure to a lot of extracurricular activities. I think when you're in a smaller town, the recognition that a child with ability can get is much more than
Agreed.
when you are in a big metropolitan with so much of competition, and you have to really strive to make your mark. So the children have done very well because of this shift. So
Very nice.
they are very happy that they are in this particular place.
Really, and it's a win-win. So that's very good. Okay, what qualities non-medical, and I'm asking Neela, non-medical, according to you, should a good doctor possess?
The main quality I think a doctor should possess is to have patience.
Wow. Okay.
Because our training is going to be a long one, a difficult one, which requires a long hours of studying, and not going to get anywhere in his field. And later on, when you start handling patients also, you're not going to know the best way to manage a patient in the few years. That also takes time. It also takes a lot of understanding not only your science but the art of managing it also. So you have to get that well, because all through it is a very thing which requires a lot of hard work, a lot of ethics, a lot of building up of your character. All those things does not come like that. It has to come with a lot of patience and practice. You have to know how to handle the patient. You have to handle it in a sensible way.
What makes you a successful doctor?
I think I don't mince words. I have the ability to call a spade a spade.
Okay.
So I don't give a patient false hopes. I don't tell them that this. I don't give them exaggerated claims that this can be done, that can be done. These are the things which are possible in your situation. These are the problems that you will have. This is what you should do to get a good result. And that way of handling patients, I think, has kept me in a good stead all throughout. I've been able to evoke a trust
If Neela had not been a doctor, what would you have chosen? I know it's a difficult question, but
It was a difficult question. Yes, it is
yes,
a very, very
I
difficult
can
question because,
understand somebody who's had such a satisfying career.
well, maybe I would have joined the administrative services. I like to keep
Wow,
things under control. I like law and order. So
wow,
maybe I would have been a good administrator. I love to teach. So maybe I would have taken up a career as a teacher.
wow.
So maybe I would have been a good if I had not had any if the circumstances were different, if I had not been the way I was brought up, yeah, if I had been a housewife, I think I would have been a very happy housewife also. So it
Wow.
depends.
Sorry, yeah. You are inspiration or role model.
All through life, I think we've had we usually have a lot of people to inspire us.
Right.
It doesn't not necessarily be one person.
Okay.
As we were growing up, as I was growing up, I think my parents were a great inspiration. My uh, mother was always a very optimistic person.
Okay.
So that I learned from her to always see the good things in whatever situation it is. And my father's great tenacity to, he was very intelligent, he was very resourceful, and he was able to manage a big family. We were 4 children, and with a single earning, my mother was a homemaker.
Mhm.
With a single earning, he was able to make all of us successful in our field. So I think that tenacity and that capability of managing every difficult adverse situation is, he has been a big role model for me. Then later on, you have some teachers who inspire you.
Correct.
You get inspired in two ways: either you want to be like that person, or you
Correct.
understand that you should never be like that person.
Correct.
So both ways a teacher both ways you have a teacher who inspires you like that. And then of course, I think all through life you learn a small things from many people. Mm. You meet your own classmates, be it your friends, be it some celebrity whom you admire or whatever. There are some small characters in each of them that you want to assimilate and you want to emulate. So I think there have been many role models for me in my life,
Very
not
nice.
a single
Very,
person.
very, very nice. Very, very nice. Your most satisfying moment in all these years.
When I became a doctor, again, a lot of satisfying moments, but
Yeah, but
if I want a case in point,
right.
a few of them. One, when I joined medicine,
Mhm.
and later on, when I remember when I got the diplomate of the national board, that is a national level exam,
Okay.
and when I cleared it, I remember my mother and me were so a sort of a pride. That was when you realize that
Right.
in a national level also you have also achieved something. So that is when, and the birth of my daughter,
How
when I
sweet.
became a mother for the first time, that is a moment which is unique.
How sweet.
Maybe I would put it above all the other moments in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And now when I see my children doing well, children achieving what they are achieving all throughout, I think that is a most satisfying
Yeah.
moments for parents
Very
to me.
true. Very true.
Mm.
And I'm at the risk of not getting agreed to. I'm going to say this because you are a doctor. But I think childbirth and a child coming into the world is probably the biggest miracle I've ever seen. You know, I know you will say that is science, but
Exactly.
I, it is
No, 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 no. It
truly
you were talking about spirituality. I think
right.
there is nothing nothing more spiritual than the experience of
Abs-
becoming a mother. No,
yeah, and the
it is
child coming out
out
is,
of the
I
world.
mean, it is.
Yes, yes.
The best piece of advice somebody has given you.
My father has been a person who has sort of guided me all in many phases in my life.
Okay.
And I always remember one particular line. He's very fond of this. Okay, he says in Tamil, எப்பொருள் யார் யார் வாய் கேட்பினும் அப்பொருள் மெய்ப்பொருள் காண்பதே அறிவு. So that is a proverb in Tamil. If you, it essentially means that whatever any person says,
Mhm.
you will have to have the maturity to understand why they say that.
Wow.
Maybe a person is praising you, maybe a person is getting angry with you,
Mhm.
but then stop for a moment and analyze why. What is the reason? What is the intention behind that person talking that to you? And maybe you will be able to act more sanely and more calmly in such a situation. That advice I have always tried to follow. So I think that has kept me in good stead also all throughout whatever I do.
That's really brilliant. That's really a good advice. But and did he give this to you when you were very young, Neela? Or
Yes, when I was very, very young, when uh, when I was in school, and when I wanted to participate in a elocution competition, and there were some issues regarding that,
Mhm.
and I was very upset. And when I came home, and that was the time when he said something like that, and he has kept repeating that, and I think that is something very true. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
You have to not suddenly get very, very, very emotional and excited when somebody is praising you, because that may also not be for a clear motive.
true.
And you should not get very angry when somebody shouts at you, because there may be some problem, something in his life which maybe you are the only person he's able to take the frustration out on,
Correct.
and so at that point he's saying whatever he's saying. So I think we'll have to understand that, and when you're able to apply that to even your patients, you are
Correct.
able to be calm always.
Let's now start the rapid fire round with Neela. So a patient is.
Patient is a seeker.
Wow.
He seeks treatment, he seeks empathy, he seeks so much more than just what meets the eye. So I think patient is a seeker.
Wow. A doctor is.
A doctor is also human. I think it is very important for the world to understand that
Correct.
we have our flaws, we have our insecurities, we have our moments where we can be divine, or we can also be the devil. So I think in between we are always human. So
Medicine.
medicine is a vast ocean,
Okay.
which keeps reinventing itself always. So
Okay.
medicine is not for the fickle minded, or not for a person who uh, just takes it lightly. You really have to do tapasya to go delve into it, and find something in it, and make it a life of yours. So
Brilliant.
medicine is a vast ocean for me.
Face value.
I'm a plastic surgeon, and you're putting this question of face value to me. So face value is important from from what I see, because again in Tamil we say agathin alagu muhathil theriyum. So
Correct.
if your soul is a reflection, it's reflected in your face, then I think the importance that people give to the face is quite valid. So
Absolutely.
we will have to understand that and give it the importance that
Great.
it deserves.
A woman is.
Well, I don't want to sound altruistic, but I think a woman is really Shakti. So
Wow.
it is it is not nothing is past a woman. She can do anything that she uh, lays her effort on, and she sets her sights on. So woman is Shakti, no doubt.
Including moving to Siliguri with two small kids.
Yes, of course.
Well done, well done. Awesome. It was really so wonderful speaking with you, Dr. Neela. I can't tell you. I'm actually left with so many more questions than answers that you have given me. It's really going to be very, very interesting editing and airing this episode. You truly are a deep person, and I've just realized speaking to you that the awards and the accomplishments you've had are just an acknowledgement of the good work you've done. I don't think you are one of those people who's going to stand on top of a sofa or a table and say, hey guys, I've got an award. Clearly. So I once again, really want to thank you. And if there is something in closing you want to say.
Thank you so much. for giving me this opportunity. So if you have made me out as a deep person, then that means there is something that I have been able to convey through this podcast. So
Yes.
uh, if any person can understand what it is to be a doctor, and maybe it is not really necessary that you have to, as you said, stand somewhere and shout from a pedestal that you're doing this, you're doing that. Your work speaks for yourself.
Correct.
Just continue to do your work, continue to be ethical, continue to have empathy. I think all success, everything will fall in its place and come towards you. So I think that is what, if somebody can understand that, then it would be a great thing that we have achieved through this podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Brilliant. Northeast has been lucky, and I hope you keep getting more accolades and more acknowledgements and more accomplishments your way. Have a lovely evening and enjoy your life, Neela. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.